Boker Or, Kal Kadosh, Masechet Menachot, Daf Yomi, Daf Ayin Vav Amud Aleph 7681 says the Mishnah. Kol Amenachot Teunot Shalosh Meot Shifa. Right? He comes and he says like this: all the Menachot they need 300 Shifa, Shifa Shifshufim, which means that you're going to be Molich Bevi Kaf Yado. All right, you're going to put your palm on it 300 times. Okay, you're putting your palm. You're doing like this 300 times. 1 second. Vachamesh Meot Biita. And 500 of bitot. So let's see. We're going to say here it says the beita is with your makeh begrofo, with your egrof, or with the kafayad also 500 pamim. Or another pshat beita is usually is a kicking. So we're going to see about that. So let's see. Shifa beita. Yeah, let's see. So shifa beita. What is shifa beita? He says it's bechitim. What does that mean? Whenever we're talking about that, it's going to be done when it's still going to be chita, in order that the klipa is going to be easy to come and to take it off when you're going to grind it. So you're going to come, you're going to basically like not moisture, you're going to like massage it. Or you're going to come, you're going to, you're going to do like this 300 times or 500 times. We're going to see that's going to be bechita. But if you say, oh man, no. We're talking about in the batzek, meaning that in order that the batzek should come and it should be easily kneaded, so therefore that's what you're going to do it the 300 or the 500 times. Okay? Kol menachot baot eser eser. All the menachot are always going to come 10 by 10s, except for the lechem apanim. Right? Why? Because lechem apanim was obviously going to be 12. Right? V'chavite kohen gadol, or chavite kohen gadol, shem baot 12, that's also going to become 12. Tivrei Rabbi Yehuda, these are the words of Yehuda. That means all the menachot were always 10s, except for the lechem apanim and the chavite kohen gadol, which is going to be 12. According to Rabbi Meir, Rabbi Meir says, kulam baot 12, they're always 12, except for 12 loaves, 12 breads. Chutz mechalot todah, except for the korban todah, right? And the nizirut, shembaot eser eser, that they're going to come 10 by 10s. Those are the 40 by the todah, which is going to be 4 groups of 10. Says the Gemara, Tana, we learned the Raita, shaf achat, when you're going to come, you're going to be shaf once, poet shtaim, and then you have to do it twice, the beita. Shaf shtaim, if you do twice, you have to do it 3 times. Okay, so therefore, basically, you have to do it 1 for 2, or 2 for 3, which means 1 more time. So the shifsha was with the yad, which is that you're going to do kaf yado alav 300 times, and the bitot was either going to be with a grof, with a fist, right, with a fist, like you're doing with a fist, or if it's going to be kaf yado also with the kaf hayad. Okay, so, how much? If you do 300 2 times it will be 60. Oh, one second. You're asking a very, very good question. Hold on 1 second. So now the question that we ask ourselves is, by Rabbi Yirmiyah. Yeah, so Rabbi Yirmiyah comes and he has a doubt. Amtuye va'atuye chad, or dilma amtuye va'atuye trei. What's halacha? When I come and I go like this, I go forward and backwards. Is that considered 1 or is that considered 2? Is that considered 1 or 2? Or maybe it's considered 2. So he says, what's halacha? Teiku. I don't have an answer. Okay? Fine. So it says now the Gemara as follows, yeah? So therefore he's going to do that tzachakol 300 times and 500 beitot, just like we learned in the Mishnah. So now the Gemara is going to ask, Shifa beita bechitin, Rabbi Yosef Omer bebatzek. So there was a machloka, when do you do it? When it's still in the stalks, like in the kernels of the wheat, or is it going to be when it's going to be a dough, a batzek? So we're going to ask a question, bebatzek velo bechitin, or din ma'af bebatzek. When he comes and he says that it's going to be done in the batzek, does he mean davka only the batzek and not the chitin? Or when he says bebatzek, it means also the batzek, meaning not only do you have to do it when it's in the chitin, plus you have to do it in the batzek. So Tashma, we're going to try to bring a proof. The Tanya we learned to the Raita, Shifa beita bechitin, Shifa beita betim, Rabbi Yosef Omer, Shifa beita bebatzek. So therefore, it's coming that Rabbi Yosef comes and he says befurash that it's only in the batzek and not in the chitin. Because here the Braita should have actually said Shifa beita, it should have actually added in that it's also. The fact that in the Braita he didn't bring down that it's also, it only means only in the batzek and not in the chitin. Next 2 dots, Kol menachot baot, all of them are going to come 10 tens, except for the other ones which are going to be 12. So lechem apanim be'edektive, by lechem apanim it's written mefurash, chavitin kohen gadol, also at chuka mi lechem apanim, meaning we're making gzera shava chuka from the lechem apanim, and lechem apanim it's written mefurash that you're going to do shtemesre chalot. So by the lechem apanim it's written mefurash 12, and we're making gzera shava chuka from the chavite kohen gadol to the lechem apanim that it's also going to be 12. Kol menachot about eser minal. And how do we know that all the other menachot are going to be 10 by 10s? So Gama, we're going to learn it from the lechme todah. Just like over there, it's going to be 10s. So to here, it's going to be 10s. So ask the Gemara, why did you decide to learn it from the lechme todah that it's going to be groups of 10s? Maybe I'm going to learn it from the lechem apanim that it's going to be a group of 12s. So answers the Gemara, Mistabra milachmet todah v'lemenav. It's much more logical to say that you're going to learn it from the lachmet todah. Sheken yachid hamitnadev shemen nifsal shelo b'shabbat v'shelo b'tumah. Meaning, the lachmet todah. Remember that the korban todah is a korban yachid. A yachid brings a todah, not a rabbim. The rabbim do not bring a todah. It's only going to be the yachid, right? The lechem apanim is of a tzibur. Mitnadev. Remember, the lachmet todah comes as a nedava. The lechem apanim is not a nedava; it's a chova. Number 3, shemen. Right? The lechem apanim does not need shemen. The lachmet todah needs shemen. Number 4, nifsal. All the menachot and the lachmet, right? They're going to become psulim belinat laila. The lechem apanim, they stay from Shabbat to Shabbat, so they don't become pasul. Shelo b'Shabbat v'shelo b'tumah. All the menachot and lachmet todah, they're not brought on Shabbat or they're not brought b'tumah. Right? Why? Because they don't have zman kavua. Lechem apanim is brought on Shabbat and it's brought b'tumah because it's kavua. So therefore, it's much more logical to learn the lachmet todah with menachot than to learn from lechem apanim. Says the Gemara, adrabah, the opposite. Min lechem apanim avle melav. I should have learned it from the lechem apanim. Why? Sheken ekdesh ve'levona matzah ve'etzem. You've got hekdesh. What does that mean? We know that they're going to be koche kadashim. Whether it's a menachot or lechem apanim, they're koche kadashim. The todah is todah vel nazir kadashim kalim shechita mitzvah. It's kadashim kalim, so it's not the same thing. Number 2, levona. Remember that the majority of the menachot they need levona, other than the minchat chote and the minchat. No, there was a minchat kenaot, right, which was the minchat kenaot of the sotah, right, that they did not have, right, the levona and the thing as well. Okay, so it says over here, rov menachot turin levona, v'gam yesh shnei bazich levona shenimdim al shulchan, lachmet todah do not need levona. That's going to be number 2. Number 3, matzah. Matzah, all the menachot are matzah. The lachmet todah are chametz. Etzem, right, also, they come because of themselves. Meaning the menachot, right, or the lechem apanim, right, they're not coming because of another korban. So therefore, since they're not coming because of another korban, the lachmet todah, they come because of the korban todah. When you bring a korban, and with the korban, you're bringing lechamim. So therefore, it's much more logical to compare the lechem apanim with the shar menachot than to compare the lachmet todah to the shar menachot. So answers the Gemara, Hanach Nefishan. No, it's still. Why? You've got more. How many did you have in the first one? You had Yachid, Mitnadev, Shemen, Nifsal, Shabbat, Tum'ah. That's 6. Correct? Here, how many did you have? You had Egdesh, Levona, Matzah, Etzem. 4. So that's why. You've got more. So therefore, it's much more comparable, the Menachot to Lachmet Todah, than to compare them to the Lechem Apanim. And therefore, it's going to be 10s and not 12s. So says the Gemara, if you're going to tell me if you're going to tell me that you learned something from Gezerah Shava, and then after learning it from Gezerah Shava, you could learn it from a binyan av. What's the Gezerah Shava? We're going to see right now. Nelev bechavite kohen gadol. How do we know the chavite kohen gadol? What was the Gezerah Shava? Chuka. One more time. The Gemara said, Lechem apanim behed yaktiv be. Lechem apanim, it's written mefurash, the 12. Velakachta sole vafita ota 12 chalot. It's written mefurash 12. Chavite kohen gadol, atya chuka mi lechem apanim. We make a gzera shava, chuka from lechem apanim. So therefore, if we just learned a gzera shava, we learned chavite kohen gadol from gzera shava, chuka, now we could learn a binyan av from that. Neilaf mechavite kohen gadol, just like over there it's 12, so to all the other menachot, it's going to be 12. Meaning, we already made a gzera shava, chuka, Chavite Kohen Gadol from the Lechem Apanim. Lechem Apanim, it's written mefurash in the Torah, 12. Chavite Kohen Gadol, I'm learning Gezerah Shava Chuka from the Lechem Apanim, 12. So therefore, now that I just learned from a Gezerah Shava, I'm going to learn a Binyan Av from the other Menachot, back to the Kohen Gadol, Chavite Kohen Gadol. So says the Gemara, Mistabra mi Lachmet Todah velilmerav. It's still more logical to come and say that it's going to be from the Lachmet Todah. Sheken Hedyot, Mitnadev, Hatzain, Pigul, Shelo B'Shabbat, V'Shelo B'Tum'ah. What does that mean? He comes and he says like this. It's still preferable to learn the menachot from Lachmet Todah. Why? Number 1, Hedyot. Right? Remember, beforehand we were learning from the Lechem Apanim. We were trying to say menachot. Where are we learning menachot from? From the Lechem Apanim or from menachot? Now what we're trying to do is we're trying to learn menachot from the Chavite Kohen Gadol. Okay, one more time. Menachot from Chavite Kohen Gadol or menachot from the Todah. So he comes and he says like this. He says, Sheken, number 1, Hedyot. Remember, Chavite Kohen Gadol is a Kohen Gadol. The Menachot are Hedyotot. So therefore it's much better to learn from the, from the Shar Menachot, from everything else, because it's Hedyotot. Number 2, Mitnadev. All the Menachot are Mitnadvim. Chavite Kohen Gadol is a chova. We're going to learn in this week's parasha, Parashat Tzav. The Kohen is to bring machatzita b'boker, machatzita b'erev. Chatzayin, number 3, it's going to be half-half. Machatzita b'boker, machatzita b'erev. All the other menachot, it's shalem. It's one full one. Number 4, pigul. All the other menachot and lachmei todah, they have a din of pigul. Chavitim of the Kohen Gadol, there's no pigul. Number 5, b'Shabbat v'tumah. All the menachot and lachmei todah, they're not brought on Shabbat or b'tumah. The Kohen Gadol is brought on Shabbat and tumah. So therefore, says the Gemara, adraba, the opposite, mechavite Kohen Gadol. I'm going to compare it to chavite Kohen Gadol. One more time. We started the Gemara by saying that I have menachot. How many loaves of bread do you have by menachot? Do you have 10 or do you have 12? Lechem hapanim is 12. Chavite Kohen Gadol is 12 because of Gezerah Shavah from Lechem hapanim. The Todah is groups of 10, right? And therefore I want to say that it's going to be all these groups of 10. So we learned the menachot from Lachmei Todah. We asked why. Maybe I'm going to learn when we were going to learn all the menachot from the Lechem hapanim. So we already answered. There's more comparisons of the Todah with the menachot than the Lechem hapanim with the menachot. Now the Gemara is asking, why can't I compare the Chavite Kohen Gadol to the menachot? So we just brought down how many? 1 second. Hedyot, Idnadev, Chatzayin, Pigul, Shabbat, Tumah, 6. 6 says the Gemara. Adrab, the opposite. I want to compare Minchat, the menachot, to Chavite Kohen Gadol, Sheken, Isaron, Keli, Hekdesh, Levona, Matzah, Etzem, Agasha, Ishim, Vehani, Nefishan. And here you have much more. Here you got 8, not 6. Meaning, what's going on? An Isaron. We know that when you're going to come and you're going to bring one Isaron of solet. 1 Isaron is a measurement, right? Again, we lost the paper of the measurements, but to tell you exactly,
3 seah.
It tells you 3 seah. Okay, so it's going to be 3 seah. So he says over here, we're going to have 1 Isaron of solet, which that's a shiur kavu of chavitin, and also the other menachot are also going to be 1 Isaron of solet. Okay, now he says the lachmei todah, right? They're coming from 20 Yisronim, so therefore it's not the same. Number 2, kli sharet. What does that mean? The lachmei todah, they don't have kedushat kli, right? They have kedushat aguf only through the shchitat todah, but this is going to be kedushat kli. Number 3, hekdesh. The chavitin and the other menachot are kodesh kodashim. Lachmei todah, kodashim kalim. Number 4, levona. We said the menachot and the chavitin, they need levona. Lachmei todah, there's no levona. Number 5, matzah. Remember, all the menachot are all matzah. The lachmei todah, 10 of them are going to be chametz. Number 6, etzem. What does that mean? All the menachot and the chavitin, they come because of themselves, not because of another korban. Lachmei todah comes because of a korban. Number 7, hagasha. What is hagasha? You're going to bring it to the mizbeach. You bring it to the southwestern part of the mizbeach, and the lachmei todah, there's no din of hagasha. You don't have to bring it to the mizbeach at all. Number 8, ishim. Do you actually bring it on the mizbeach itself, the fire? So the minchat chavitin of the is going to be mukteret kalil. It's going to be completely on the mizbeach, and other menachot, it's only the komets. Everything else is eaten by the kohanim. V'hani nefishan. So here you have got much more, right? So therefore, I've got more comparisons from menachot to chavite kohen gadol than menachot to lachmei todah. I've got more comparisons. One's 6, one's 8. Answers the Gemara, hedyot me'edyot adifle. It's still better to learn a hedyot from hedyot to kohen gadol. Meaning chavite kohen gadol is at the end of the day kohen gadol. It's the other ones, it's all hedyotot. So it's much better to learn from hedyot than to learn from a kohen, even though you've got more comparisons. The Bimir comes and he says, kulan baot shtemesre. All of them are going to come 12 loaves. All the menachot and everything. My kasava, what does he hold? If he's going to hold right, that you anything which was learned by Gezerah Shavah, you're going to learn it as a binyanav afterwards, just like we just said before. You're going to learn from Chavite Kohen Gadol. You've got more. If you're going to tell me now that he learns that Gezerah Shavah cannot learn afterwards a binyanav from it, you're going to learn from Lechem hapanim. Hekdesh me'ekdesh adifle. So then it comes out that hekdesh from hekdesh, meaning it's better the hekdesh from the hekdesh, which is going to be kodshei kodashim from kodshei kodashim, which is menachot from lechem hapanim, than the kodshei kodashim from kodashim kalim. So that is the shita of Rabbi Meir, why he holds that it's always going to be 12. So it comes out one more time. Machloket. How many loaves are menachot? Machloket Rabbi Meir and Rabbi, I think it was Rabbi Yehuda. No, the first one. I think it was Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Yossi. What was the first one? Rabbi Yehuda. It was Rabbi Yehuda. Right? So Rabbi Yehuda comes and he says it's going to be 10s, right? And Rabbi Meir comes and he says it's going to be 12s. Now, why? According to Rabbi Meir, because it's better to learn the Kodshei Kodashim from Kodshei Kodashim, so it's better to learn the Todah from He's learning better to learn from the menachot from lechem apanim, right? Instead of learning from the todah, which is kadashim kalim. That's why you learn always 12s. And according to the other shita, it's always 10 because it's better to learn hedyot from hedyot. Okay? 2 dots. On the bottom of Ayin Vav Amud Aleph. 2 dots. Chutz milachmet todah v'nezirut, that they're always going to come in 10, according to everybody. Right? According to everybody, it's going to be coming in 10s. Lachmet todah, ktiv b'edek ktivu. So to mefurash the pasuk. V'nezirut, the more says, shelamav, when it says to do with shelamav, lerabot shalmei nazir, that's coming to include the shalmei nazir, then it's also going to be 10. So by the Korban Todah, it's written mefurash that it's going to be 40 loaves, so it's obviously 4 groups of 10. But by the nazir, we're learning it from the fact that it says shelamav. Okay, so it says the Gemara, Amar of Tuvi Bar Kisna, Amar Shmuel, it says of Tuvi Bar Kisna, the name of Shmuel, Lachmet Todah Shafan Arba Chalot Yatsa. If you took the Lachmet Todah, and instead of doing 10 loaves of 4 groups, what you did is you did 4 loaves, right? That means it means instead of doing 10, I'm just going to throw it out the names. So let's say spelled right. It's not really. They're all made of the same thing, but it's just the way that they're made, the way that they're formed, right? But let's say you're going to say bagels, breads, and pretzel bagels, and I don't know what other type of names for whatever it is. So when I'm going to come and I'm going to say all these different names, instead of doing 10 groups, 10 of 4 groups, I made 1 for each group. So I made 1 pretzel bagel, 1 big bread, 1 whatever. No. Instead of 10, each one you needed 10 of each group. Right. You have 4 groups of 10. Instead of doing 4 groups of 10, I did 4 groups of 1, but 1 big huge one. Instead of making 10 individual ones. So says the Gemara, you're going to be Yitzchak Chova. So says the Gemara, you need 40 chalot. How are you going to be Yitzchak Chova? Says the Gemara, mitzvah. It's only mitzvah. It's not me'akev. Meaning, as long as I brought every single one of those individual ones, I'm Yitzchak Chova. I used everything. It was just 1 big bread instead of making small little loaves. So says the Gemara, you have to take off truma. If you're going to tell me that you did take off truma michol v'echad, you should take from 1 and you shouldn't come and take right from prusa and the truma. Meaning, when you're going to come and take off truma, if it's 1 loaf, I have to take part of the loaf. It's not shalem anymore. The other one, if I have 40 loaves and it's 4 groups of 10, so I'm going to take the truma, it's only going to be 1. I'm not taking everything. Everything else is shalem. Everything else is fine. So answers the Gemara, the freshinu belisha. You took it off when it was still in the kneading process, before it became a loaf. So Meitvei, we're going to ask a question. Kol menachot sheriba b'midat chalatan, or shemiet b'midat chalatan, ksherot, it's going to be kosher, chutz milechem apanim v'chavitei kohen gadol v'lechem todah v'nezirut, except for the lechem apanim, chavitei kohen gadol and the lechem todah v'nezirut. So who the amar ki aitana? So it says the Gemara is asking that here you've got the 12 lechem apanim in the chavitin, and you've got the 10 of every single one of the lachmet todah and the nezirut, which is going to be ma'akev. So it's mefurash lachmet todah. It's going to be ma'akev. That you need what? You need the full amount. You need 40. You can't just do 1 for each group. So answers the Gemara, right? Ayin Vav Amud Bet 76b. Hu damar ke'etana. He says like this. Tana, the Tanya was learned in a Braita. Kol menachot sheriba b'midat chalatan shemiyeh b'midat chalatan. All the menachot which you added in the way that it's a chala, or you subtracted in the way that it's going to be chala, it's going to be kesherot. Chutz, except for the lechem apanim, v'chavitei kohen gadol, and the chavitei kohen gadol. V'yesh omrim, some people say, af lachmet todah v'nezirut, also the lachmet todah nezirut, right, is going to be the same halacha, that it's going to be pasul if you changed the number. So if you change the number, it's going to become pasul. So Amar Ravuna, you're going to need 40. So Amar Ravuna says, minchat ma'afeh she'afach ala achat yatsa. If you had a minchat ma'afeh that you made 1 bread, you are going to be Yitzchak Chova. My time, what's the reasoning? Matzot kativ, it's written matzot without the vav. The fact that it's written matzot without the vav, so therefore it's like written like matzat instead of matzot. So therefore even if you did 1 matzah, you're still going to be Yitzchak Chova. So matki Rav Papa tamad dichtiv matzot only because it's written chaser haktiv matzot, but if it was written with a vav, then you don't say that. V'agabe lachmet todah, it's written matzot with a vav. Ve'amar Rav Tuvi b'kusam Shmuel lachmet todah shavan arba chalot, you're going to be Yitzchak Chova. So he says, "Pliga, you're right. It's a machloket on that. Meaning, there's a machloket. Do we say that since if it's lacking a vav, you're going to say that it's completely that now you could have it chaser or not? That's the machloket between them. Okay. Next, Mishnah. Mishnah on Ayin Vav Amud Bet 76b. The Mishnah. Haomer. The Omer came from the isaron of the solet, from the shalosh sein of seonim. Shtei alechem used to come from 2 esronim of solet, from 3 seim of chitim. The lechem apanim came from 24 esronim, which came to 24 sein of chitim. So we already mentioned, if you remember, a lot of times, korban haomer, barley. Korban shtei alechem, wheat. We said because we were like the animals on Pesach, but by the time we came to Shavuot, we were already Yishecha B'Lev, so therefore we became wheat. So now he comes and he says, okay, the what are the measurements? So the Korban Omer was one isaron, which comes from, right, which they were able to take from one isaron, 3 se'as of seorim. Okay? So they would come and take one isaron. So he comes and he says, right, the Shtei Alechem was from 2 esronim, and they used to come and they used to take 3 se'in from it, and the Lechem Aparim was 24 esronim, which they used to take 24 se'in from it. My timer says the Gemara, why is it that you need 3 se'in of seorim in order to get the solet, right, for the Minchat HaOmer? Right? Why do you need this? So says the Gemara, Kevan de mechadash ate, since it's coming from the chadash, seorin ate, it's coming from seorin, from barley, isaron muvchal loati elash vishlosh sayin. So you're not going to bring, right, you, in order for you to get a good one, you have to bring from 3 sayin, meaning you have to use the sift, if you remember, 13 times until you get it very, very fine. So therefore, that's why you needed that amount in order to get a very, very fine flour. The Shtei Alechem, which is going to be Shtei Esronim, is going to be from 3 sayin. Kevin the chita atin, because since they're coming from chita, afagav the mechadash atin, even though it's coming from the chadash, shtei esronim from the 2 esronim, you're going to come the 3 sein of chitin. Lechem apanim is going to be 24 esronim and 24 sein. My time, what's the reasoning? Kevin the mechitina too, since they're coming from wheat, umiyashan and it's coming from the yashan, isaron muvcharati misah. So you could get a full isaron from 1 seah, meaning it's much more pure. You're able to get it. Tanu Rabbanan, we learned in the Braita, kol menachot sheriba b'midat esronan, or shemiyet b'midat isronan. Any type of menachot that they put more or less of the isarons are going to be pasul. But if you have more of the sein, or that you were mima'et midat sein, it's going to be kosher. So the first product, when you're coming and you're bringing it, it's going to be pasul if you change. So if I brought 2 instead of 1, or 1 instead of 2, it's going to become pasul. That's the starting. But after I already come and I start the sifting, and now I have the end product, if I'm going to have more or less, it's still going to be kosher. Fine. Next, Mishnah. Mishnah on the bottom, towards the bottom. Mishnah, ha'omer haya minupa, minupesh v'shlosh nafa. They used to come and they used to take the omer and they used to sift it with 13 sieves. Shtei alechem b'shtemesre. The shtei alechem used to do it with 12 sieves. And the lechem apanim, they used to do it b'achadeseh with 11 sieves. Rabbi Shimon, Rabbi Shimon says, lo yalan kitzvah. What are you talking about? There was no number, right? Ela, solo minupe, kol tzukay, mevi. He used to bring whatever it is. If you need to do it 20 times, do it 20 times, 40, 60, whatever you need.
Why you mean like be specific?
Yeah, that's Rabbi Shimon. Yeah, that's Rabbi Shimon. Right? So he says, Shnei says the pasuk, v'lachata solo v'afita ota, ad sheteh menupa kol tzurka, until it's going to be 100% menupa kol tzurka. Says the Gemara, Tanu Rabbanan Milan to the Braita, b'daka. First, he used to use a sieve, which was nafa daka, and then gasa, and then again daka, and then again gasa. So he used to do the big holes, small holes, big right, the small, big, small, big, small, big. Rabbi Shimon Lazar Omer, shlosh nafot hayu b'mikdash. There were 13 in the mikdash. Zulu malam mizub zulu, and each one was what each one. Elyona was collected subin, but tachtona collected solet. Meaning like this: you had 13 in a row. So you have number 1, 2, 3, 3. Now each one, exactly, each one smaller, smaller, smaller. So the big one on the top was for the subin, was for the whatever it is, the biggest, the brands, I think they call it. Right? Exactly. So by the time it gets to the bottom, it's going to be the fine flour. Rabbi Shimon says, lo elenu kitzvah. There was no number at all. Tanu Rabbanan, we learned in the Braita, solet v'afita ota, melamed shenikachat solet. You have to take solet. Uminayin shafilu chitin, even if it's going to be chitin. In any case scenario, you're going to take it, even if it's going to be, you have to buy chitin. You would say that in all the other menachot. Ota, right? Which is a mute. It's dafkayet, which means the solet of the lechem apanim. You're going to take it when it's chitim. All the other menachot, you have to take it when it's already going to be the flour. Because of the chisachon, which means that we don't want to come and start spending so much on the lechem apanim, because if you're going to take it as solet, it's too much money. So they used to take, meaning for the lechem apanim, which was done every single week, they used to take the actual flour and they used to do it themselves. But other things, they could take it when it's already done. They wanted to make sure that we're not going to spend too much money. So because the Torah wanted that we're not going to spend so much money, dafka by the lechem apanim, we didn't have to buy it in the way that it was. We could even take a chitin and bring it down. That we ourselves are the ones that are purifying it until it gets to the final thing. Hey, where's the hint? It says al pasuk, you're going to give to drink, right? Whether it's going to be the animals, right? So he says over here that when we're talking about the Otzat Mayim is also for the animals. So the Kodesh Baruch Hu is chas also the mamon shel Yisrael. What is the mamon? The mamon of Yisrael is animals. Animals are our mamon. We are our money. So therefore, that's why we're HaKadosh Baruch Hu is chasa al mamon. No, but HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us free water in order to give to the animals. Hadran alach elu menachot mikmatzot.